A long, long time ago, in a small village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush forests, there lived an old, wise granny. She was known throughout the village for her stories and life lessons that she shared with anyone who would listen. One day, two young villagers, Peter and Jennifer, decided to pay a visit to the wise granny. They had heard so much about her wisdom and wanted to learn from her. As they entered her quaint little cottage, they were greeted by the smell of freshly brewed tea and the warmth of the fireplace. The granny welcomed them with open arms and invited them to sit down and enjoy a cup of tea with her. As they sipped on their tea, the granny began to share a story from her past. She recounted how, when she was a young girl, there was a wealthy and influential man in their village who had taken a liking to her. He would often send his servants to her home, bearing gifts and asking for her hand in marriage. Jennifer gasped, appalled at the man's behavior. The granny nodded, acknowledging the gravity of the situation. It was a difficult time for me. The pleasure was very high among friends and family. She continued. I was just a young girl, and he was powerful and one of the richest men in the village. But every time I saw him or received his gifts, my soul would reject him. I knew deep down that he wasn't the right person for me. Peter asked, But how did you know for sure? The granny replied, When something isn't right for you, your soul rejects it and tries to warn you in different ways. Pay attention to how things make you feel and what emotions they bring up in you. Don't force what you know it's not right. Let it go. Jennifer said, I've had similar experiences, but I didn't know how to put it into words. It's like a physical sensation that tells you something isn't right. Granny nodded. Exactly, my dear. It's important to pay attention to those physical sensations and emotions as they're telling you something important. The granny's story continued as she recounted how, despite the man's persistence, she declined his offers. It wasn't easy, she admitted, but I knew that I couldn't force myself to marry him, and eventually he moved on and found someone else to marry. It is essential to listen to our intuition and trust ourselves to make the right choices for our lives. The granny's story resonated deeply with Peter and Jennifer, as they too had experienced situations where they had ignored their intuition and regretted it later. Granny continued to share her experience and wisdom with them after some long silence. The most painful tears are not the ones that fall from your eyes and cover your face. They're the ones that fall from your heart and cover your soul. Peter looked puzzled. What do you mean, Granny? Granny replied, When we ignore our intuition and make choices that aren't right for us, it can cause deep pain and regret. It's important to always listen to our hearts and souls so we can avoid those painful tears. Jennifer said, That's so true. I've had moments where I've made choices that weren't in alignment with my values, and it caused me so much pain. Granny nodded. It happens to all of us, my dear. But the important thing is to learn from those experiences and use them as opportunities for growth. Peter asked, Granny, how do we access that part of our body that we can't reach on our own? Granny replied, That's a great question, my dear. It seems to me like there is a part of our body that we can't reach on our own. Only our spirit can take us there. We must take the time to quiet our minds, listen to our inner voice, and connect with our spirit. This can be done through meditation, prayer, or simply taking a walk in nature. It's essential to create space in our lives to connect with our higher selves so we can live a life that's true to who we are. Peter and Jennifer nodded in agreement, realizing the importance of taking the time to connect with their inner selves. Granny smiled at them. You two are wise beyond your years. Keep listening to your intuition, and it will guide you on the right path. As the evening wore on, Granny shared more stories and life lessons with Peter and Jennifer. They listened intently, captivated by her wisdom and grateful for the opportunity to learn from her. As they prepared to leave, Granny gave them each a hug and whispered, Remember, my dears, to always trust your intuition and listen to your heart. Your spirit will guide you towards a life of joy, love, and fulfillment. Peter and Jennifer left Granny's cottage feeling inspired and enlightened. They knew that they had just experienced something special, and they vowed to live their lives in alignment with their intuition and spirit. As they walked through the village, they noticed things they had never seen before: the beauty of the flowers, the rustling of the leaves, and the laughter of children playing. They felt a renewed sense of gratitude for the simple pleasures of life and a deep connection to the world around them. Years later, Peter and Jennifer returned to the village with their children. They visited Granny's cottage and shared stories of their own with her. They realized that Granny's wisdom had touched their lives in profound ways, and they were grateful for the gift of her teachings. Granny smiled at them and said, My dears, I knew from the moment I met you that you were destined for great things. You listened to your intuition and trusted your spirit, and it led you to a life of joy and fulfillment. Remember to always trust yourselves, and you'll continue to grow and evolve. Peter and Jennifer hugged Granny, grateful for the impact she had on their lives. As they walked away, they knew that Granny's teachings would continue to guide them on their journey. The moral of the story is that we all have inner wisdom that guides us toward a life of joy, love, and fulfillment. When we listen to our intuition and connect with our spirit, we create space for that wisdom to emerge. It's important to trust ourselves and make choices that align with our values and desires. By doing so, we can live a life that's true to who we are and experience the beauty and wonder of the world around us. The end. Thank you for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos like this from this channel. We love you.